Hi, this is Professor Hegney, Instructor of Communication at High Point University. Today we are going to learn how to make memes. Yay! And we're going to make memes through using Photoshop. And the first thing we're going to do is learn how to kind of merge layers in Photoshop. That's what we'll do. So the first thing I want to do is kind of look at something that happened in popular culture. Well, let's see what happened last night. We had the State of the Union address, and I looked at some of the pictures coming out, and one very iconic image was Nancy Pelosi doing a little clap back. And that was kind of cool. So I think we'll use that, and I'm not pushing any political agenda, just so you know. I'm not really going to be making fun of Nancy. I'm not going to be supporting her political views, so hopefully people won't mind too much. But I'm going to go to images. This is a fun image. And what I'm going to do is click on tools because I actually want to get as large of an image as I can. So I'm going to click on tools. I'm going to go to size and say large. Alright, here we go. Do I want mic pens? I don't know. I like the looks of the brightness of this image. This looks a little dark. I'm not sure why. I'm going to focus on Nancy Pelosi, so I'm okay with this, that Mike Pence's head is chopped off. I am going to right-click this large image, or control-click if you're on a Mac with its right mouse button disabled. And I'm going to, I can do a couple things. I might want to save this into my project file. So I'm going to say save image as, not save link as. That's just going to save a hyperlink. Save image as. And I'm going to go to maybe D drive, and I'm going to make a new folder called Meme. Meme time. There. And I'm going to, put this in there, and I'm going to actually rename it, because 5C5A579C250000A8, that's not a good name. I'm going to call it Nancy Pelosi Clapping. That's a better name for that JPEG. And what I'm going to use for this is something that I know, like I was trying to figure out, what could I do with this clap? I'm not sure. One thing I know, and I don't know if this will be funny for you all, that's funny to me, I'm going to go back to my favorite, one of my other favorite memes, which is Michaela Maroney isn't impressed, and I'm going to look for Michaela Maroney Olympics. I like this image here. I may go... Can I show large? Oh, it's already on large size. Great. So I'm going to click this because I know I'm going to be using this one. And my goal here will be to put Nancy Pelosi in the background, kind of doing a little fake clap for Michaela Maroney. And I think that's going to be funny. Once again, save image as. If I right click, this is a JPEG. Oh, that's still a really long name. I'm just going to call it 20. I'll just delete some of this and delete some of that. There we go. Alright, now my Google searches are over. I'm going to come to Photoshop now, and I'm going to click open. I'm going to open both of them is what I'm going to do. Yeah, sure, that's what I'll do. So go to meme time. I want to open Michaela, and I want to control-click to open on a Windows PC to open both of them at the same time. Or you can like left-click and drag them, however you want to do it. If you want to open them one at a time and waste your time, that's fine. Okay, open. How much time we got here? Oh, only 4 minutes. Great. So I'm going to do this quickly, and you can like go back and forth and watch this as many times as you need to if you're a new student here, kind of watching what I do. Basically, I want to add a mask to this background image, and I'm going to mask out Nancy Pelosi. I'm going to do it in a fun way first. This is not the only way to create a mask. Well, number one, I'm going to unlock that layer by just left-clicking the little padlock that I just did. I'm going to zoom in to Nancy as much as I can here. Okay. And I'm going to use a tool called the Quick Select Brush tool right here. Quick Select Brush tool. If you hover your cursor over it, it might be, or if you left click for a while, it might be the Magic Wand tool, because the Magic Wand tool and the Quick Selection tool, they kind of go in the same slot. And so if you see the Magic Wand, we're not using the Magic Wand. We're going to use the Quick Selection tool. And a couple things to note. quick selection tool works, it makes selections. If you left click and drag, now it's defaulting to add to selection. And what this little plus means up here at the top, what that means is if I left click and drag and make a selection, see, it just magically selected all of this part. Well, if I were to select her hair, it's going to add to that selection. Now, if this were not set to plus, and if this were set to make a new selection each time, which is the first little thing up here, every time I did a new quick select tool, oops, oh, it defaults to that. Oh, that's nice, actually. Oops, I was wrong. Okay, so it's always going to jump there. Sorry, that must be a new feature. Yay. Well, I'm going to hit Control D to deselect everything. My job is to select only Nancy. So if I left select right here, left click here, the quick selection tool will select just that part. Now I'm going to use my brackets, as you all know, to increase the size of my brush. I like to have a brush about this size. And I'm going to click her hands, click her suit here, and you can see that I can actually make a fairly quick selection of her entire person right now. Now what you'll notice is the quick selection tool made a mistake, and it's going to do that. It's going to try real hard to only pick the pixels belonging to the thing that which you selected. So right about here, it selected that red band from the flag. So the way to deselect is to hold down Alt Option. When you hold down Alt or Option, it turns into a minus sign. And what you'll notice up at the top, the brush selection option will switch to delete from selection. So when you hold down Alt Option, left click and drag what you don't want selected. And so now I'm still holding down Alt Option, yay, and I clicked on the flag red area. Same thing in here in her hands. I might hold down Z. I'm not going to tap Z. I'm going to hold down Z, left click and drag, let go. And when I let go of Z right now, it switches right back to my brush. Now, if you tapped Z, you switched from the quick selection brush to the zoom tool. And then you'll have to click on your quick selection brush tool to kind of redo this. I didn't tap Z, I held it down. So now I'm going to hold down, I'm going to make my brush a little smaller so it can fit in here and not touch her hands. And I'm going to hold down Alt, left click and drag, and left click right there. There we go. Now notice the tip of her finger is not there. So with my button off of the Alt, I'm going to left click right there. Now I'm going to hold down Z. I'm not going to tap Z. Hold down Z. Left click and drag out. Hold down, release the Z key. Hold down spacebar and just resize it. There's a little spot in her hair right here that I don't want to have selected. So I'm going to hold down Z. Left click and drag in there. I'm going to make my brush small enough to fit in here by tapping the left bracket key, hold down Alt to get into subtract from selection mode, and just left click. Oops, too much, Hackney, too much. Zoom out. That's okay. The cool thing about the quick selection tool is it actually learns somehow. Oh, you see that? It learned that it doesn't think I want something in there, but guess what? I want that to be a little bit larger of an area. So I'm just like left tapping just a little bit there, and I'm going between alt clicking and not alt clicking. Again, I'm constantly just like telling it, no, add this little bit, subtract this little bit, subtract this little bit. And we may have to, pardon me, we may have to clean this up a little bit. Okay, but we'll clean it up later. So with Nancy Pelosi here, what I'm going to do is now I'm going to add a mask. And whatever you have selected, when you add a mask to an image layer, it will mask everything else out of the image. So once I push this button down here that says Add Layer Mask, it's going to basically mask everything but Nancy Pelosi. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Bam. There we go. And now we've added a layer mask. Everything that was selected is white. Everything that was not selected is black. And if I hold down Alt and click it, Alt Option and click it, I can see everything that was selected is white, everything that was not selected is black. I have a little mistake here. You see that white line? That's going to be a little annoying thing. I'm going to keep it for now, and we'll fix it later in the second video. But the thing I want to show you first, and we have a couple more minutes, I can do it. I want to bring Nancy into the Michaela Maroney image. So let's go ahead and do that. And I can do it in two ways. Number one, I could control-click the layer in the Nancy Pelosi tab. I can, oops, come on. Control-click. No. Oh, right. If you're on a Mac, you can control-click. I cannot. I will right-click, and it will say Duplicate Layer. Again, if you're on a Mac, you do have a right-click. If you're on a school computer, our school computers, for some reason, default to have the right-click disabled, unfortunately. So Control-click that, click Duplicate Layer, and I can drop this little destination document to the Maroney Silver JPEG, which is the tab right here. And I can call it Nancy. I can call it anything I want. It's layer 0 here because we didn't name it, but since we're putting it into the Michaela Maroney document, I want to label it Nancy, say OK. Now when we click over here, hey look, there's my Nancy layer, right? And I can use my Move tool and left-click and drag Nancy here. Of course, she's a little bit too large, but that's okay. We'll deal with that later. We now have Nancy in here. Fake clapping at Michaela. We are going to resize and place Nancy in the image in the next video. So thank you for watching. Bye-bye.